Have you ever felt like you're just constantly giving? Adding more and more to your plate, it's already overflowing, and then one day you hit a wall.
Oh, yeah, that feeling, burnout. It's this really common thing, especially when you know you're doing good work, but you're just completely running on fumes.
Exactly. Maybe you're feeling that right now, or you definitely know someone who is.
It happens a lot, doesn't it? Often it's the folks who are really dedicated, heart-centered professionals, maybe self-employed people. They get caught in that cycle.
Learn to do good, make an impact.
Right, and they keep adding more, but they forget to balance the give with the crucial rest.
Well, that's exactly why today we're doing a deep dive into how to, well, not just avoid burnout, but actually build what we're calling your bounce back muscle.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is maybe a shortcut to understanding a really powerful idea. We're pulling insights from some pretty fascinating sources.
Yeah, the goal is helping you shifting from just, reacting when life throws you a curveball.
Which it always does.
Always. Shifting from that to truly responding. Responding in a way that actually builds resilience. That leads to growth.
So where are these insights coming from today?
Well, our main guide here is Sensei Victoria Whitfield. She's a Reiki master teacher and also a high performance and business coach.
Okay.
And her stuff is really rooted in years of working with clients, real world experience. Plus, she brings in some deep wisdom from Napoleon Hill, specifically chapter 3 of Outwitting the Devil.
Wow. Okay. Outwitting the Devil. That's the sequel to Think and Grow Rich, right?
That's the one. So we're going to unpack how these, seemingly different sources actually connect and hopefully give you a clear path forward.
All right, let's start there. Victoria Whitfield, she says burnout is like the #1 thing her clients are dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. The number one thing. It's a pattern she sees all the time, especially with people committed to doing good work.
Right.
There's this excitement, you achieve something, so you add more. But that balance, that give and rest thing, it often gets neglected.
So what happens then when you hit your limit? What are the signals? Does the universe send the flare?
Sort of. She calls it a dark gift, or sometimes a challenging gift, or even a resistance gift.
Okay, intriguing terms.
Yeah. It's that moment you hit your absolute limit, and it's basically the universe saying, hey, stop, adding more right now, not good for you.
It's an uncomfortable message, I bet.
Oh, definitely uncomfortable, but maybe necessary. It forces you to actually stop and reassess.
That makes sense. It forces a pause. And that leads to the difference between reacting and responding, right? When things go wrong, like a project fails or nobody shows up to your event, our first instinct is often just react. What does that look like?
Reacting is going straight into that emotional activation, complaining, blaming.
This always happens to me.
Exactly. Or, see, people just don't get it. It's that immediate, often negative emotional flood, and it can really pull your energy down.
Oh, I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
That immediate freak out moment. But responding, that's totally different.
Totally different. Responding is about approaching it with a different belief. The belief that things are happening for you, not against you.
Okay, that's a big shift.
It's a mindset shift, and it brings up a really important question for you listening right now. Are you reacting or are you responding? When you hit those obstacles, those challenges, that negativity, because, if we want to raise our vibration, just meaning elevate our energy or emotional state, attract better outcomes, and if we want to be more intentional, we have to make that shift from reacting to responding, especially when life throws you something significant.
And sometimes those challenges feel huge, right? Like they just knock the wind out of you, affect your energy.
Yeah.
That's where Victoria Whitfield brings in this idea of repolarizing. How does that work?
Right, repolarizing. She explains it like this. Energy is just energy. So if something negative comes your way, you actually have the ability to sort of flip it, repolarize it to positive, like magnetic poles.
Okay, so not denying the negative happened, but changing its polarity?
Exactly. It's not about pretending it's all sunshine. It's about consciously looking for the lesson or the opportunity hidden inside the setback.
How do you do that in the moment?
Victoria suggests just pausing, taking a breath and asking yourself, okay, what is this situation here to teach me? Or maybe, how can I pivot from this? The core belief behind it is that you don't have to be afraid of life happening to you because deep down you trust that life is always happening for you.
And if you don't develop that ability, that bounce back.
Well, that's exactly what leads to burnout, right? You get knocked down and you just stay down.
Okay, let's make this really concrete. To really get this shift from reaction to response,
Yeah.
you mentioned Napoleon Hill. Let's dive into his story from Outwitting the Devil. That sounds like a major example of bounce back.
Oh, it's profound. So Napoleon Hill, famous for Think and Grow Rich. In this other book, Outwitting the Devil, he basically interviews his own dark side.
His dark side, like self-doubt, fear.
Exactly. Inner opposition, self-sabotage, doubt, fear, shame, all that stuff. It's kind of like Carl Jung's concept of the shadow, that unconscious bit holding all the stuff we don't want to acknowledge.
Gotcha. So how does his own life story fit in?
Well, his personal experience during the Great Depression is like the ultimate bounce back case study. 1929 hits.
Yep.
And he loses literally everything.
Okay.
His massive 600-acre estate in the Catskills, gone. His income totally cut off. Any money he had in the bank, the Harriman National Bank, wiped out, just gone.
Wow. I can't even imagine.
He described it himself as being caught in a spiritual and economic hurricane. He looked around and saw the whole world in abject failure.
So how did he react initially?
Despair. Total despair. He wrote that he lost his courage. His initiative was just, quote, demoralized. His enthusiasm weakened.
And this is the guy who wrote the book on self-determination.
Right. He said he felt ashamed to be the author of this philosophy of self-determination because he honestly felt his own philosophy couldn't pull him out of this hole. Yeah. And Victoria Whitfield points out this was 3 years into the Depression. She says the devil must have been dancing a jig of rejoicing.
Okay. But he didn't stay there. There was a turning point.
There was a pivotal moment. He's sitting in his car right in front of the Lincoln Memorial in D.C., and suddenly this reframe hits him like a lightning bolt.
Oh, was it?
He realized the Depression itself.
Yeah, it was devastating, totally outside human control.
Yeah.
But it was also an opportunity.
An opportunity.
An opportunity to test his philosophy, to prove his own big claim that every adversity brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage.
Wow. To see that in the midst of losing everything. That's resilience.
That's the bounce back muscle in action, shifting from victim to seeing the challenge as a test.
You mentioned the devil trying to muzzle him. Can we connect that to our own experiences? Like, why do we sometimes hold ourselves back or self-sabotage? Yeah, that's a great question. Understanding that muzzling effect helps us see why we resist growth. Victoria Whitfield explains it this way. Our brain, our body, it naturally prefers what's familiar.
Even if familiar is not great.
Even if familiar is playing small or experiencing disappointment, we sort of expect it's weird, right?
Yeah.
But it's like this twisted self-protection.
How so?
Maybe a part of us learned way back that speaking up or trying something new or being successful leads to trouble or criticism. So it tries to keep us safe by rejecting innovation, rejecting growth. It muzzles us.
So how do we fight that? How do we actively build this muscle, push through that resistance?
Well, think about actual muscles like bodybuilding or powerlifting.
Okay.
When you push a muscle to failure, what happens? The fibers actually tear, right? Tiny little tears.
Yeah, that's how they grow back stronger.
Exactly. They regenerate stronger. So you're not breaking down, you're breaking through. And that analogy, it's perfect for understanding burnout.
So burnout isn't the end. It's the tearing before the strengthening.
Precisely. It's not a sign you failed. It's an invitation to innovate, maybe set better boundaries, communicate your needs more clearly.
These are growing pains then.
Truly growing pains. You can't just keep doing the same old things and expect burnout to magically vanish. You have to change something.
Like what specifically?
Could be anything, really.
Yeah.
Consciously scheduling time off, like real time off, no work, and actually sticking to it. Or maybe having that difficult conversation with a client to adjust the scope of a project. Setting a clear boundary. Saying no.
Saying no can be really hard.
So hard, but crucial for building that muscle.
Okay, and speaking of signals, you mentioned Victoria Whitfield uses tools sometimes to help people read the signs of overload early, like a card of the day.
Yeah, she uses this unique oracle deck. And for this topic, she pulled the 10 of fire. But significantly, it was upside down.
Upside down. What did that mean in this context?
Well, the 10 of fire, especially reversed like that, basically screams overload. Too much work, life's out of balance, serious risk of stress-related health problems.
Yikes. Sounds like a warning label.
It really is. It's saying you're working way too hard, too many hours. You desperately need to balance your professional life and your personal life.
What's the advice from the card then?
The primary message is be willing to accept help from others. Stop trying to do it all yourself. Also, cut out unnecessary activities. Slow down.
Accept help. Cut back, slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Seems obvious, but hard to do.
Absolutely. The card also warns against that all work and no play mentality and even obsessive behavior that can tank your health. It's like the darkness just before dawn, maybe, but you have to choose to turn towards the light.
Is there an image on the card that captures this?
Oh, yeah. She mentioned her favorite depiction of overload from this card. It's a dragon.
A dragon.
Yeah, a dragon flying. But it's trying to, like, turn sharply in midair, and it's carrying this heavy bucket overflowing with gold coins and wands. But as it tries to turn, the coins are falling out, some even hitting it on the head.
Wow, that's a vivid image. Trying to carry too much, losing control.
Exactly. And Victoria has this great phrase summing it up. You're doing too much, darling, but you think you're not doing enough.
Ooh, that hits home for a lot of people, I bet.
Totally. And the point is, if you just ignore those signs, the stress, the body screaming at you, you're missing the opportunity. The challenge isn't a disaster. It's a test.
A test of what?
A test of your ability to balance, your ability to say no, or maybe, no, thank you, I'm full right now. Or even just, no, that's not for me. It's your chance to use that situation to build the bounce back muscle, to repolarize the energy from overwhelm to in control.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. This whole deep dive, it really boils down to avoiding burnout by consciously building that bounce back muscle.
Yeah, and that means shifting. Shifting from that knee-jerk reaction to a conscious response, seeing challenges as, well, as opportunities, really.
Like Napoleon Hill did, even in the face of absolute catastrophe during the Depression, finding that seed of equivalent advantage.
Exactly. And like Victoria Whitfield teaches, recognizing those signals your body and mind send, like that upside-down 10 of fire, or feeling like that overloaded dragon.
Yeah.
Recognizing those aren't signs you're failing, they're actually invitations. Invitations to innovate, set better boundaries, maybe ask for help.
So every struggle, every time you feel overwhelmed, it's actually a workout for your resilience.
That's a great way to put it. A test designed to make you stronger. So maybe the thought to leave you with is this. If your body, your mind, if they're screaming for balance right now, what's the smallest thing you can do?
The smallest act of repolarization.
Yeah. What's one tiny step you can take today to honor that signal, to start turning that potential breakdown into a breakthrough?
Because it is possible, right?
Absolutely. Remember what Victoria Whitfield says, you do not have to lose your glow as you grow in life and business.